Hey guys, you're watching Aztec, and today I'm going to show you a quick video on how you can use Unity's physics system. Hope you enjoy. For this tutorial, I will be using Unity 2019.4. Okay, so what you're going to want to start off with is create a new project in Unity. Select 3D and change the name to whatever you like. Now create a plane. Make sure it has a mesh collider attached. Create a sphere. Now if you select Add Component and search up Collider, you can see that there are a ton of different types. You've got box colliders, sphere colliders, capsule colliders, all you could possibly need. Some are 2D, some are 3D. Make sure when you're using a 3D project, use the 3D ones, the ones without 2D in their name. Now, as a demonstration, I'm going to add a box collider to the sphere, and as you can see, it creates a green line box sort of thing around it, which you can edit however you like. And what Collider does is it makes two objects not pass through each other. Now, if you go to Add Component again and search up Rigid Body, select Rigid Body, well, just Rigid Body, and if you just hit play without altering any settings, you should see that the ball falls to the ground. Yeah, what a rigid body does is it just adds physics that you're going to need, such as forces, gravity, the mass of an object, all of that good stuff. Now, if I create a plane and angle it, you can see that when I hit play, the ball will roll down. Now let me just show you what a rigid body does and what it can do. So a rigid body has the mass, which is the weight of the object, the drag, how much resistance it has when it moves. I'm not sure what the angular drag does. Use gravity, well, it enables gravity. What else do you think it would do? Is kinematic it says that the rigid body is applied to the object, but it's not going to move. And freeze position, basically, freezing the rotation and freezing the position means that the object cannot be affected by the rigid body, as in its rotation can't be affected and neither can its position. This is why, if you hit play and freeze the rotation, it will stay stationary. When you unfreeze it, it begins to move again. If you set an object's collider to isTrigger, you will see that the object passes directly through the other objects with colliders. This is because a trigger checks if an object is inside of another object. For the time being, keep it as a collider. If you right-click and create, You may see a giant menu pop up, and don't be intimidated by this. Select physics material. I'm going to call it, you can call this whatever you like, but for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be calling it bounce. Now, if you go onto the bounciness variable, you can turn that up to whatever you like. I'm going to keep it moderately low with 1. Now, you see on your collider there is a physics material slot. You can click on the circle by it and select the physics material, or you can drag and drop it. I'm going to create a 3D object, a cube. You can see that it has a box collider attached. I'm going to add a rigid body to give it physics. And create a new physics material. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call it slide. Now, the friction variables you can set to 0 because we want it to slide, and set the friction combine to minimum. It means that the smallest amount of friction, the object with the smallest amount of friction will be used. And as you can see, the cube slides. Now, I'm going to create a second cube, make sure that it's moderately large and that it is in line with either the cube or the sphere. I'm going to add a transparent material to it, just for the purposes of this video. And what this is going to be is it's going to be a trigger, as in it will detect if the cube has entered inside the object. Now I'm going to create a similar object, except I'm going to make it opaque, and this is not going to be set as a trigger, as our sphere will be able to detect whether it has come into contact with an object. So you can right click and create at the very top of the menu a C# script, and I'm going to call them collider and trigger, and the purpose of them is being able to detect whether an object has how to use triggers and colliders in code, as they are very useful. When you start off, you can delete void start and the void update functions, and create a new void called void onTriggerEnter. Make sure that you have a capital O, a capital T, and a capital E. The private that you saw at the beginning was not necessary, so I deleted it. Make sure that inside the 2 brackets are collider and other, collider with a capital C. Inside the 2 curly brackets, the code that's going to be run, write down debug.log and whatever you would like within the brackets. This means that it will write down whatever is inside the brackets on the console in game, so you can see whether it has entered the object. Do the exact same thing with the collider script, except instead of onTriggerEnter, have onCollisionEnter, and make sure that other is switched to collision. And do the same thing with debug.log and whatever you like inside the brackets. Finish off with a semicolon, and save your work. Then when you head back into Unity and hit play, you can see that the ball hits the object and the cube slides through the other object. It also displays the messages inside the console. You may notice that the ball displays its message when it comes into contact with other objects such as the ramp. This is solely because they both have colliders, but you can just change that later via tags. Now, physics are always great to have, but also remember it's important to sometimes break the rules, as you can see in this clip. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, or learned something new from it. Like and subscribe to support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!